which means that I would love to have your questions, your comments. So in case you feel comfortable and you wanted to ask anything related to the presentation for today, you can definitely ask after the presentation. The agenda is like I will present the PowerPoints and then we will have a discussion over your questions. Today's agenda is quite straightforward. I'll be talking about the basics of a research topic, that what is a good research topic, what is a research topic, the differences between a research title and a research topic, how to groom a research topic. So I will be talking about these aspects. Then very important part of the presentation would be from where the ideas for the research topics come from, what can be the sources, what you should do. So with practical examples, I would like to share my thoughts as from where the research ideas come from. And in the last, because we are a management school, a business school, so mainly I'll be talking about the contribution in the field of management sciences. What are the various levels and what are the various forms of contributions that you as a researcher can have? If we talk about research topic, to start with, research topic is a subject or an issue that a researcher is interested in while conducting research. For example, an increasing trend of smoking among females in parts of Asia. This is a research topic because it shows that there is an increasing trend of smoking among females in parts of Asia. So things are quite clear. Okay. Another research topic could be misbehavior at work and the work-life balance among nurses and bankers. The reason being that the work-life among service providers, particularly among nursing professions, particularly among bankers, is quite an issue these days. So this is yet another research topic as an example, because the issue in the second research topic is the misbehavior as well as the work-life balance among service providers mainly, and then among nurses and bankers. Another topic could be social discrimination and turnover. So the issue here is the discrimination that people face when they work in some low category, low categorized occupations such as security guard, sweepers, office boys. So the issue here is social discrimination and turnover among people who belong to probably the lower cadre of the society. Yet another example of a research topic is student and faculty rapport and demotivation to attend online classes. This is yet another quite a contemporary and recent research topic. So to conclude this PowerPoint, this slide, a research topic is something which you are interested in, but also at the same time, research topic is something about which you have some idea, you have some feel about it, you have some basic data about it, and you are familiar with the intensity of the issue that you are going to propose to your examining body.
Excuse me. Excuse me, Sir Kashif. Your screen is not being shown. Can you please show it? Can you please screen share?
Yeah, please just
Okay.
can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir. Now we can see.
Okay. So this is what I just presented. Research topic is a subject or an issue that a researcher is interested, and I gave you examples like increasing trend of smoking to student and faculty rapport and demotivation in online classes. These are few of the examples to signify that what is an example of a research topic. Okay, moving forward. There are some facts which we need to understand about research topics. Number one, research topics are not research titles, because your life as a scholar moves on from a topic to a title. Title could be the last thing, but the problem that I foresee among a lot of scholars, a lot of students, even the researchers, the senior ones, they think of topics, they think of titles rather than they think of issues. Research topic is more than a title in its own self. So research topics are not research titles. And I would like to elaborate what is the difference here. For example, research topic includes understanding of an issue, that you are familiar with its theory, its intensity, which will define the need, the manner, which means method in which it will be investigated or explored, and underpinning theories. So my dear students, colleagues, and fellow researchers, when we are talking about research topics, it includes all these aspects. Title is just a title. It might tell us probably the variables and the context, but a research topic is more than a research title. So when you think of topics, you should be thinking of in terms of understanding of an issue, its intensity, the methods, and the underpinning theories. These combine to make a research topic. Then research topic is an ongoing process. You might start from, let's say, as an example, misbehavior at work, and you might end up choosing a topic such as a trickle down effect of supervisor undermining on customer intentions to misbehave with the frontliner, a valuelessness perspective from banking sector. So you see, maybe you are imagining, maybe you have observed the phenomena somewhere. Maybe you went to a bank and you observe that the customer is misbehaving with the staff, and also you observe that the senior guys, they were also misbehaving with the junior guys and vice versa. So this observation is not at all a research topic. Rather, when you move ahead with it and you read about it, you read its methods, you read its theory, you read about already what is a contribution and the need to conduct such a study, only then you would say that you are moving from a observation towards a research topic. And because it's an ongoing process, you will be able to see the clearer picture with the passage of time. Observation could be in the month of July, but the topic clarity could come around September, as an example. So it might take 2 months, 3 months, depending upon you, depending upon how rigorously you read, depending upon how clear you are about your vision to commend that study. So it will depend upon these factors. Another important aspect is the initial bias. There are two types of biases. For example, if you ask someone that what you wanted to investigate, the person might say, oh, I'm interested in fast food issues. Someone might say, I'm interested into higher education. Someone would say, I'm interested into telecom industry turnover issues among employees. Someone might say, I'm interested into leadership. Okay, so that is your initial bias, what you are interested in. But with the passage of time, you should be very clear, very much focused. You should be able to scrutinize the topic up to a level that it becomes very clear. I will read this topic one more time for you to bring about clarity. For example, a trickle down effect of supervisor undermining. Now it is very clear. We are not taking any other, for example, we are not taking abusive supervision. We are not taking exploitative supervision. We are only taking supervisor undermining. So this is something focus on customer intentions to misbehave. We are not talking about customer aggression. We are not talking about some other type of misbehavior from the customers with a frontliner. No, we are not again here. We are focused towards a frontliner rather than the whole banking staff. And it is a valuelessness perspective, which it is a philosophy where you see that people feel like valueless. They feel that like everyone pinches them, everyone can easily hurt them, everyone can scold them. So this perspective is a valuelessness perspective from the banking sector. If you think this as a topic, everything is crystal clear, everything is focused. There are no ifs and buts in that. Very clear, to the point, and focused. It will happen only when you will read with the passage of time. We'll discuss with you, and I'm going to discuss those techniques with you as well. Now, criteria to select some research topics. One criteria is feasibility. The other criteria is appropriateness. For example, under feasibility, we have certain questions to answer. Are you interested in a research topic you are imagining about? Is it like the research topic fascinates you? Is it just like your hobby? Is it just like closer to your heart? Is it something you really wanted to investigate? This is the first question. Do you have the necessary research skills? Some topics you might be interested to investigate via quantitative research. So, do you have quantitative research skills? Some topics you might be interested to explore via qualitative investigation. So, do you really have the qualitative research skills? This is yet another question we need to answer as scholars. Can you complete the project within the stipulated time? If yes, then you can move ahead with the topic. Yet another question is, will the research be current when you finish? One of the very important topics or questions that we need to address. Will the research still be current when you will finish your thesis, will finish your research article, will finish your, let's say, your conference paper? So you have to be like, you should be able to answer this question in a particular manner. One more question is, do you have sufficient financial and other resources? If you will ask me, probably I would like to pick skills, time, and financial resources. Skills are important, time is important, and financial resources are important. If you have skills and you have available time and you have financial resources, we can definitely grab data via some methods. We can request people, we can use some references, and also remember, it is a trade off. You have to pick one to drop one. Maybe you have some funds, but not the skills. So maybe you can grab some skills. Time is the crucial issue. Normally, when students enroll in a thesis for a BBA degree, for an MBA, MPhil, or PhD, they have some time limits. So, to students, my advice would be, all those students who are either PhD student or BBA student going for their thesis, time is an important constraint over us. This is one. Secondly, the financials. Because we are living in a developing world, financials are equally important. Our job considerations, our familial responsibilities, sometimes everything is knitted with the financials that we have. So it's a trade-off, depends upon you, maybe case to case basis, but time is crucial and financials are crucial. Another criteria to select good research topic is appropriateness. Now, there are again several questions. For example, does it meet the examining body's standards? There are some topics which your university cannot afford to handle. They may be so controversial. Okay. Likewise, there may be some topics which they think that you cannot handle as a student. So they have some standards for you. Does it meet the examining body's standards? Another question is, are you very clear about the topic? It makes this topic quite appropriate. Okay, and this way it will definitely help. Are the research questions and objectives clearly stated? If answer is yes, as an early researcher, I would ask you to go ahead with the topic. And will the proposed research provide fresh insights to the literature? So, my dear fellows, these are the two criteria that we need to follow. We can, I mean, we can follow in order to grab some good research topics. One was the feasibility, other is the appropriateness. So you can pick and choose with the help of your supervisor, with the help of your research committee in your university, with the help of the mentors that you have. You can pick and choose among the questions that what you should opt for. Okay, the other part, the second part of the presentation, where the ideas for research topics or research topic come from. There is a list. Reading your work, reading work of your interest. This is from where research ideas can come from. This is one thing. Press release on current debates. This is yet another aspect. Brainstorming with senior faculty, someone who is a guru who has published in a particular field, who is quite well familiar with the literature in the field, someone who has some industry experience, someone might have some links and a good sense of the literature. You can brainstorm, you can always, I know a lot of people, they are so kind that on a cup of tea you can discuss with them. So brainstorming is a method to actually grab some ideas. Then observation of social or managerial issue, popular culture, folklore, while nicely linking it with theory of your field. Now the point is that if you can please link with the theory of your field, that's a critical point. And I will elaborate on this point number 4 in the upcoming slides. Yet another way is journal call for papers. If you visit the website of some renowned databases, renowned publishers such as Emerald, Sage, Wiley, Taylor and Francis, from the journal website, the websites of the journals, you can find call for papers. So a lot of ideas are already given there. There are scholars, there are senior people who will definitely let you know as what are the various topics that you should take forth. So instead of only thinking of topic by yourself, what you can do, probably you can seek help from people. Okay. And yet another is technique is the past project, limitations and future research. So this way, probably you can join the past projects are truly define your limitations, truly define the future research directions. So while reading the theses which are there in your library, probably you can grab some ideas. Now let us take some practical examples. As I said, by reading the work of your interest, this is an example I quoted, Lenin Allah's quote, Iqbal Rahmatullah's poems, a combination of poems. They took three poems, Dr. Farzad and Dr. Bilal. They took three poems and they critically analyzed those three poems. And based on the analysis of those three poems, they presented this article in one of the world class journals. So I don't mind if you tell me that, sir, I'm a management science student, but I love reading, let's say, Iqbal, I love reading Shakespeare, I love reading some other scholars in the field, maybe Imam Ghazali, Rahmatullah alayh. I love reading some other Muslim scholars. So you can nicely link your reading practice with the theory development and with the project that you intend to make, because contribution is not only limited to survey research, not only limited to some surveys about satisfaction of employees and traditional topics. This is one example. By reading the work of your interest, you will still be able to link it with what your interests are. See yet another example. By reading the work of your interest, let's say you are interested in reading about the history. So what we do usually, we read about the history and we just close the book and go to sleep. That's all. But Dr. Jawad, he was at LUMS recently, still, I guess, working with LUMS, was a dean recently. He retired as a dean now, working as a professor. So what he did, he read Akbar's life, the patron of his life, and from his life, the way he was managing a multicultural society, he presented some lessons for diversity management for organizations. So even if you have interest in, let's say, Iqbaliyat, the study of Iqbal's thought, if you have interest in reading the work of, let's say, Akbar, you can still park your car in the field of management sciences. These are just few examples, and a lot of other examples exist there. As I said, press release to discover a topic. In those days when I started this study, this was published with British Food Journal. That was the time in 2014, 13, 14, 15, 14, 15 probably, when there was hype of food quality issues, which were diagnosed by Punjab Food Authority. They newly established company, they started a government organization, I would say. They started working in Pakistan and they are quite critical, but at the beginning they were quite critical and they were just spying on restaurants. So I read somewhere that these issues are becoming very popular among people and people are having an eye on it. So that was quite a current issue. And I got motivation for this topic from the newspapers. From, I guess I remember the Business Recorder website, the Nation website. So I saw that a lot of news were appearing. So from a press release to a research paper, you can definitely read what is there in the modern media, what people are talking about these days, and you can correlate nicely with the topics. Let's see an example. Recent example is, maybe you are familiar, if you are a business student, you may be familiar that Fair and Lovely changed its name in Pakistan, Glow and Lovely. Okay, so this is a social issue. The colorism in societies such as Pakistan, which has remained colonial society over and over time again, but still our habits, still our skin color is a debate in this part of the world. So probably what you can do, you can seek motivation from such issues. Those are discussed in the popular press these days, and it can be a nice topic if you are into sociology or if you are into marketing. So why skin color matters and what are the further impediments and what are the further discussions, what are the further deliberations in this field, maybe you can discuss as a healthy thesis for your own degree program. Yet another discussion these days is working from home. Okay, it's a managerial issue. So if you are into psychology, if you are into family studies, if you are into HR, this topic might fascinate you. I shared a link, which is quite recent these days. Work from home here to stay. Industry expert explore the challenges to employ working remotely in Pakistan. So maybe you can link uh, issues such as work-life balance, maybe productivity at work, maybe networking. So these quite a number of issues you can relate with such issues. So what I wanted to say, probably with the reading of popular press, you can bring some research ideas, and then those research ideas can be read thoroughly and can be discussed, can be groomed into a topic. Popular culture, daily life, academic research. Now, this is yet another example. This was a recent study just 2 years, 2 and 3 years ago, 2.5 years probably ago. This was published in International Journal of Sports Marketing. Cricket, I was, before joining academia, I was very fond, still I'm very fond of cricket. I was watching the T20 match before the presentation. So you see, cricket is like it's a bread and butter of discussions in Pakistan, in countries such as Pakistan. So I was thinking that why not to conduct a study, because those days when I planned it, we just finished the T20 World Cup, and Pakistan's performance was, you know how Pakistan's performance is. So with the help of my friends in Sri Lanka, we designed a study. Okay, and we were able to publish this study in one of the best journals. So what you can do, you can seek inspiration from your daily routine life, from the newspapers that you read, from the discussions that you have on the dining table. You can bring all those discussions and spend some time with them, those issues which are highlighted by the popular press, maybe the music that you listen to, maybe the comedians to those who you listen to. Maybe you can bring those to practice. And I will elaborate further as how there are a few more examples. This is yet another example, Lucky Rani Circus in Pakistan. They are one of the very popular brands in Pakistan. I came across this study. It was not on a Pakistani context, but they have published it. And the title was Between Juggling, Stunts, and Antics, the meaning of work for circus artists. So few questions came to my mind. Can stunts be examined to link these with service drama metaphor? Can we explore some role theories? What can be the linkage between job description and identity creation of jugglers, magicians, or singers in a circus? Yet another question could be the physical evidence of the circus. Really? Because physical evidence and role theories and job description, this is pure theory which is discussed in the books. And sometimes we find those theories as quite hectic, quite boring, quite dry. But I guess if you intellectually open your eye, what you can do, if you have this social intelligence, you can link issues with the theories that you are actually studying in your degree programs. So these questions can be addressed with respect to the Lucky Rani Circus perspective, just as an example in Pakistan. Yet another example I would like to share with you, popular culture and research. You see, comedy culture is very popular in Pakistan these days. Khabarnak and I don't remember some other. Khabarnak is the only show I remember. Um, Kabardar and something like that. So a lot of comedy shows there. A lot of stand-up comedians from YouTube you can see in Karachi, Lahore. This is very popular. Even in the world, the stand-up comedians are very popular. But there is another side to it. For example, ethics of comedians in a collectivist or masculine or religious context. So maybe from only a fun perspective or a joy perspective, or let's say from a laughter perspective, maybe the other side of it is the ethics. And there are a few questions that you can address. For example, what is a discourse? Discourse means what are the various topics stand-up comedians in Pakistan use? Why? What type of jokes they exchange? What motivates audience and comedians to deliver a audience to attend and comedians to deliver a a stand-up comedy program? Can we use the psychosocial theories such as theory of reasoned action, theory of planned behavior? And yet another question could be, what determines rejection of an immoral act, such as a dirty joke, via application of virtue theory? So I guess you can seek inspiration from multiple sources, and you can answer this question as from where the thought of the research ideas come from. Now, the last part of my presentation, what is contribution slash originality in the field of management science? One form of contribution, one level, initial level, I would say, is replica study. You can replicate. This is just one example, although it was published in one of the very good journals in the field, having very good impact factor also and very good readership, Journal of Marketing for Higher Education. It was about perceived quality loyalty path, and it everything was tested before. We tested it already. But the context of business schools in Thailand was new. Okay, so when you should replicate when the context is important. So in this paper, the context of, let's say, international students enrolled in business schools of Thailand, this context was very important because the business schools in Thailand, when we started this study with the initiative of the government of Thailand, they were trying to attract a lot of international students in Thailand, but they were facing trouble at the same time. So we gave this idea that by improving the service quality to loyalty path, they can get lot more students to enrolled in the Thai business schools. You should replicate when policymakers are seeking for answers. As I said, the government of Thailand, they were seeking answers from scholars as how they can attract more students. Replicate when you want to generalize a certain topic, a certain issue. So we tried to replicate it. For example, previously the study was there, let's say in the developed world. Now we replicate it into a Thai context. So it will enhance, it will stretch the generalizability of a research finding. And definitely replicate when non-significant as well as significant results need further explanation why the results are the way they are. If we want to stretch further our explanation, we can definitely replicate a particular, at a certain level, we can replicate. And quality of a thesis or quality of an article does not only mean that the method is original. You can replicate if it is well written, if the methods are quite well documented, if ethics approval are sought, and if the argument is built on some scientific merit. Another form of contribution, another level, is either introduction of a new mediator or a moderator to study existing relationship. In Pakistan and countries such as Pakistan, such as China, Malaysia, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Maldives, I have observed that this justifies a PhD. Okay, this justifies a PhD. If you are in an existing framework, if you are introducing a new mediator or introducing a new moderator, it will justify your doctoral degree. So depending upon the university also, depending upon your examining body, depending upon your career missions, but this is yet another level of contribution that you can have. You can add a mediator when you think that the relationship exists, but the variables can enrich the phenomena. You can add more depth and more details into the topic. If answer is yes, you can add a mediator. In this framework, we added quiescent silence, which means defensive silence. The phenomena was there were a lot of studies. Direct relationship was proposed. Abusive supervision directly to turnover. Perceived injustice directly to turnover. Ethical conflict directly to turnover. But we said in countries such as Pakistan, where unemployment conditions are quite bad, if you leave a job, you will not be able to get a job, another job easily. Before arranging a job, people don't actually leave, but people become silent and they go to the defensive mode. That was our logic. So we added quiescent silence, which means defensive silence as a mediator. And in a hierarchy such as Pakistan, in a power distance context such as Pakistan, people do not reciprocate negative with the negative, especially to bosses. If a boss abuses a subordinate, does not mean subordinate abuses a boss. Subordinate might go defensive, might feel something bad in the heart, but might not abuse in return. promotion because he or she wants a job. So our explanation helped us to take this paper to another international journal. At same level, you can add a moderator when you think that it can reshape the relationship. For example, this paper was published in Asia Pacific Journal of Marketing and Logistics uh, back in probably 2018-19. The idea was that there is still perceived quality is very high, brand awareness is high, association is high, but still donors, they don't give their donations to the organizations. Why is that? So we added brand credibility as a moderator. We said that if perceived quality is high of the service, if brand awareness is high, people will donate to those organizations where the brand credibility is high as well. So brand credibility was added as a moderator. This is contribution number 2. You can add a mediator or a moderator to existing relationships, but with scientific logic. Contribution number 3, you can reposition the nature of a variable. This is a recent paper which is published by Journal of Fashion Marketing, and there our argument is previously researchers thought that brand jealousy is such a construct where when people get jealous to each other, they pay more money. For example, if a friend of mine purchased an expensive mobile, I will say, okay, so you bought an expensive mobile, I'll buy equally expensive mobile. So previously researchers said that due to jealousy, people are willing to pay the high price. But we repositioned the concept and we said no. Sometimes people, when they love the brand, they can start hating the brand if they see that others are gaining the similar value. And this study was limited to the luxury clothing. And the consumers in a luxury clothing sector, they want exclusivity. And once there is no exclusivity, they might start hating the brand. And one reason to lose exclusivity is brand jealousy, because others are also using the same brand. So maybe you can reposition the nature of a variable. This is contribution level number 3. Sorry. And contribution level number 4 is introducing a new construct or presenting a new theory. Exploitative leadership in the field of management is one of the new theories and gaining popularity. My recent paper was published with Journal of Knowledge Management, where we investigated the exploitative leadership and we linked it with knowledge hiding behavior. So contribution level number 4 is either you introduce a new construct, maybe new variable, or you present an entirely new theory. This exploitative leadership with the help of this paper is yet another example. That's all from my side. Your questions are more than welcome, please.
Sir Kashif, thank you very much. Thank you very much for sparing some time out of your very busy schedule. Participants, questions, please. You can raise your hand and we can unmute you and take your questions.
Madam Afshin has some internet issues. She will be joining us in a moment. Meanwhile, we may take some questions if the students have any.
Yeah, please.
You may unmute the mic of the participants. Participants, we will be taking questions one by one. You may raise your hands in case you have any question. We may start from the first question.